Hello, I'm Dr. Harper. This video is going over the syllabus for project management BANA 6650 online section E01 for spring 2021. Now there's a number of places you can find the syllabus. If we bring up Canvas, on the home page here, you can download the syllabus here and view the syllabus, or also on my website. Download the syllabus from mdharper.com. You open my website under the Project Management tab, and down here you can have the syllabus. You can download the syllabus here, but also you have the required textbooks here. Here's the PMBOK guide. This link goes to Amazon if you want to buy it from Amazon. This link is for the Wysocki textbook for effective project management if you want to buy it from Amazon. Okay. Down here, there's going to be lecture material for this spring, and they'll be very similar to these down here, and some of them will be identical. But every semester, I do some changes. I add things, change things, subtract things, and so I'll be posting Word files beginning next week for the course. And then if you on down here, now these are Word files, but down here you might see videos. Down here you see Excel files. And as I go through the quantitative part, you can download an Excel file as a template, and I'll work through it with you. And here's all the second half of the course where I go into Wysocki. At the bottom of the project list, these are suggested topics for projects, but we'll talk about those later in this syllabus as I go through the syllabus. Okay, let's go back to the syllabus. And in the syllabus, you can see I start, well, first of all, this is a 16-week online course, and the course is active today, Tuesday, January 19th. That's when I'm recording this and posting it. This description is in the catalog to match up the catalog with the syllabus for accreditation. And then I start with a schedule. And then the schedule, notice I'm going to have 6 topics here. And 6 topics, there's going to be 2 weeks for each topic, ending with a homework assignment. And notice the week begins on Monday, but the assignments are due on a Sunday. And so be very careful with that. Be very cautious. No late assignments are accepted. They're due Sunday night by 11:59 p.m. And these are Sunday dates. So make sure, like homework 1 is February 7th, so it's a ways away. But between now and then, we'll be covering 3 weeks worth of material, and then after that, 2 weeks worth of material. And so the first week, the lecture, beginning next week, the lecture will be about the content of the material, the definitions, the applications, how they're used, and the general foundation for the material. The second week, there's where I get into more of the applications. In some cases, they're going to be quantitative applications, working problems on Excel. The only software I use is Excel to show how to use it in Excel. And that's the second week. But also, during that week, I'll also address the homework. Here's what the homework, and here's where to find the homework. I won't work the homework for you, but I'll address where in the lecture, where the homework answers are, so that to help you and support you to learn the material. So we kind of learn the material together, or I'll help you with the material and the homework. And then you submit the homework. But make sure you do submit it on time through Canvas. No late assignments are accepted. I'm pretty strict with that. Okay, then after the break, oh, by the way, this first part here, the first 3 topics is going to be PMBOK in the Project Management Body of Knowledge from the Project Management Institute. The last 3 are going to be from Wysocki, Effective Project Management, where it looks at more applications and industries. So this is laying a foundation up here, and this is applying it in business. Okay, which is a good point. Maybe this should be called Business Project Management. And then after the break, we have an exam and individual projects. But notice both of these are due by the end of the course. And the end of the course is Saturday, May 15th, so be very careful. Well, including the break and the review session for the exam and the project, the exam and individual project, there's 4 weeks there. So you have plenty of time to address this, to do it, but make sure you submit these assignments before Saturday, May 15th, and they'll be open up probably before the break, because nothing is considered after the end of the course. That's on Saturday, May 15th, May 16th. That's when I pull everything down, whatever I have, I grade it, post grade, send them to the registrar, and then I'm done. We're done with the course. Everything has to be done between the beginning of the course and May 15th. And the beginning of the course is January 19th. Everything has to be done between those 2 dates. I don't consider anything after those dates. Okay, now the grades. Now the grades are based solely on the percentage of the grade measure performance. And what I mean by grade measure performance is your grade is based solely on how many points you earn on these assignments divided by the total possible. So it's all in percentages. What's important about that is what's not there. What is not there on your grade is your grade is not dependent on participation, attendance, how many hours you put into it. Every person is different. Some people put a lot of hours. Some people put a few hours. It doesn't matter. We're all different. But your grade is based just on the performance on those measures. 6 homework assignments, 20 points each, and those homework assignments we'll talk about in a minute. Exam, 40 points, and project, 40 points, 200. Whatever percentage you have, then you come over here, and that compares with the letter grade. Okay, grades are not negotiated, and percentage determined from points earned out of total possible points. The important about that sentence is be careful in Canvas. In Canvas, I'll post all the grades in Canvas, but in Canvas, the grade sheet, a lot of times they'll calculate different percentages. In the past, students have made the mistake of taking the highest percentage. Oh, that's my grade. Not necessarily. Your grade is based solely on the percentage of their performance, how many points you earn divided by how many points possible. That percentage is your grade. In other words, if you don't turn in an assignment, you get a 0. So it's not like you didn't do it. You get a 0 for that assignment if you didn't do it. In other words, Canvas will calculate those differently. Okay, assignment grades posted on Canvas during the course. You can see your grades all the way through, see what all the numbers are. Your course grades to the registrar and not on Canvas. In other words, on Sunday, May 16th, when I do the final course grades, I don't post them on Canvas. I send them to the registrar, and you should get them within a day or two. And that's your course grade. Okay. Another thing about rounding, 0.5% I round up, less than 0.5% I round down. That's going to be true for not only grades, but also for the homework and calculations and everything. And I'll talk about rounding in a minute. And I want to emphasize now, especially we'll be doing some computation in here. And I want to emphasize that never round during computation. Only round the presentation of your answers. Never use a rounded number in a computation. Always use all the significant figures. That's why we use Excel, and we have software to have a lot of significant figures. And so the problems we'll be doing, significant figures will not be a problem if you use Excel and use all of them that they have. Okay. It used to be, but not anymore. Okay, now the course workflow. For the first week of the course, read the entire syllabus carefully. I want to encourage that because this gives all the policies, procedures, how to submit things, how to download things. Identify all online sources for this course and organize your workflow to begin in week 2. After the first week, the workflow consists of watching videos, and this will be a video. Every lecture will be a video, and you can watch it over and over again. Downloading the homework assignments, you can download them and then you work them. Working problems, attending Zoom office hours. Initially, it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 p.m. Links in Canvas. communicating with other students through Canvas discussions, and submitting answers to homework through Canvas. The organization of your time is your responsibility. Every student works differently. It's your responsibility to determine a workflow that works for you. I've given you a lot of resources. It's up to you to use them. But the submission of your answers to the homework problems are required, and the project, from each student on time because no late assignments are accepted. The submission of all the assignments are required to be on time. Nothing is accepted late, so be very careful with that. Watching videos, a link to the YouTube videos will be provided on Canvas. I use YouTube. YouTube is one of the more powerful, sophisticated platforms. I use YouTube videos, so therefore you'll see that'll be high def. Homework assignments. First, download the Word file with the homework questions. Work the problems, making use of the videos, Canvas discussion with students at Zoom office hours. Let me stop there. Make sure that you download the homework and you work all the problems before you submit it. Every semester, I get students to look at this. They bypass the homework assignments. They click submit. Once you click submit, you can't unclick it, and you have to submit it. If you don't submit it, you got a 0. No late assignments accepted. Be very careful, and that's why this syllabus, going over the syllabus is important. Submit all the answers at one time through Canvas, only after you have the answers. And then the Zoom office hours, a link will be in Canvas. Okay, during the exam and project weeks, a review video will be provided for the exam, and an instruction video will be provided for the project. Now, the exam and the project must be submitted through Canvas before the end of the course. No late assignments accepted. The exam may be taken once. The project will be an individual project. Details will be provided later in the course. The exam. The exam is designed for evaluations. Open book, open notes. I'll even give a review guide, a review video on the exam. Here's what I'm going to ask. Here's what you come in prepared to answer. I won't tell you exactly the numbers. Sometimes I'll give you the exact question, but the numbers will change. Here's where you find this information. I give you a whole review and an outline of how to study. What's on the exam, what's not on the exam, because I want you to do well. But I want you to do it. So you come in prepared and you should do well. As far as the project are concerned, I'll give an instructional video where I say, here's the kind of projects I'm looking for. Here's what I want you to do. And I'll go over that in detail, in more detail than this. This is just the beginning. All links for this course will be provided in Canvas. All the links are in Canvas. We've just seen that. However, the material resides in different locations for efficiency and quality. Organization of learning material will be on the website, link in Canvas. Lecture and homework videos on YouTube channel, link in Canvas. Well, link in Canvas for the lecture, for this video and lecture videos. I'll also have homework videos. That's the second week. And Zoom office hours, again, the Zoom link is available in Canvas. Homework assignments will be primarily over the current topic, but progression of quantitative material from previous topics can also be included. Now, what I mean by this, a progression of quantitative material from previous topics can also be included, actually will be included. In other words, I introduce, say, critical path method. The next week, I'll take that and expand on it and say, we'll do crashing. I'll expand on it and do PERT. I'll expand on it and do probability analysis and risk analysis. So I'll just keep building on it and building on it and building on it on the quantitative material. And so there'll be like a running type of stream on each one. Again, on the second week, I'll show you how to approach that and how to work it so everyone will be on the same page. Okay, homework. Each homework assignment is 20 points. Exam is 6 topics, timed, open book, multiple choice, 40 points. By the way, it's all multiple choice. Now, some of them may be computation, but all you will need is a calculator. That's all you're going to need. You're not going to need Excel. We'll be doing Excel a lot on the homework, but not the exam. The project is an individual project report submitted through Canvas, 40 points. Individual means every person has to do the project. Okay. The course objectives and material. The objectives: acquire the content preparation for project management certification through the PMI. Now, the PMI is the Project Management Institute. And so this material is really based on the PMI. Here's the Project Management Institute. And membership, let's see, certifications. Here, I don't know who that guy is. Certifications, types, process, types. Here we go. So you can have Agile certifications. That's why I talk about Agile. Here's a project management professional. This is the PMP. This is the managing for a project manager. CAPM is for people who are either on the project team or a project manager. And some people require either PMP or CAPM to actually be in a project or actually be a project manager. But you can also have professional business analysis. You can have Agile certified practitioner, portfolio, program management, which is different than project management. We'll talk about that. And risk management, scheduling, on and on and on. Okay. So, but also, let's see here, PMBOK guide. This PMBOK guide, and I don't know who that guy is. This is the standards for PMBOK, and I'm using their guide as the foundation because it's worldwide, it's very recognized, and it's just a guide. It doesn't tell you exactly how to do it, but it gives you the definitions. It gives you all the different framework, structure within which you create your own project. And we'll talk about that when we get started next week. Okay, so let's come back here. That's going to be the PMBOK. Oh, let's go back to here we go. The second objective is to gain knowledge and skills in applying project management tools within project. Here's the practical part. If you want to be a project manager, then this second goal is that this is gain knowledge and skills in applying. This is the practical applied. And if you're a project manager, here I'll look at all the spectrum. And I've had people in here who are PMPs. And I said, why do you take this? And they says, well, I know some of this material, but when I start applying it, I want to have a broader view of being more robust in my management of my projects. So I'll be covering a large spectrum of things. I'm going depth with scheduling because that's critical, but I also go broad on some of these other topics. Okay, and the third one is analyze organizational structure and coordination for effective project management. Here's where Waisaki comes in. This is organizational structure, recognizing it, and how to make projects work within an organization, within an industry, within a business structure. We'll start with different organizational structures, and then we'll end with portfolio approaches on how projects can be part of programs, part of portfolios. They go right into the organizational strategy. And so that's more of a broader. So we have 3 course objectives. Okay. Required material, website, of course, we've already looked at that. The Canvas, we've looked at that. And then the 2 required textbooks. And I'll call this Effective Project Management, 8th edition, Waisaki. I'll say Waisaki, I'll use his name. Now, the 8th edition is here. He came out with it a couple years ago, but the 7th edition is pretty much the same information. He adds some new information in the 8th edition. He reorganizes the 7th edition, but a lot of it, of the initial parts, the traditional project management framework is pretty much the same. They're the same. The difference is in the latter chapters when it talks about the more agile and portfolios. The guide, 6th edition, this guide is pretty consistent. The 5th edition had stakeholder management in human resources. The 6th edition took human resource and just called it resources and took stakeholder out and have a different knowledge area. In other words, very, very small changes. My point is, in the lectures, I'll be talking about what's important. And you can find it in this material. Whether you have the 8th edition for Waisaki or the 7th or the 6th edition for PMBOK or the 5th. It's pretty much the same information. It's fairly consistent. They update it, but they don't really change it that much. They don't really change what's already there. They add to it and update it. Okay, summary of the material. Here we go. First of all, the overview and context. This is kind of a combination between Wysocki and PMBOK. The Wysocki chapters 1 through 5, we're not going to cover all 5 chapters. I'm going to pick and choose what I feel is important moving through there. But the 5 chapters, he does a good job describing it in a practical way. And so it's a good read. It's an easy read. It's not real technical in that sense. And some of his chapters are fairly technical, but this is not. That's why I have 5 chapters. But the lecture will identify the part of the overview and context that's going to be important. But in PMBOK, chapters 1, 2, and 3, I will pick things more out of there to lay the foundation. The definitions of terms, environment, we'll do definitions over here as well. The environment, and also project manager. And then this right here, 2 and 3, traditional project management landscape, qualitative and quantitative. This will focus on PMBOK. I start with PMBOK. Now, PMBOK, these 5 knowledge areas, these are knowledge areas. These 5 knowledge areas here, I classify them under the qualitative knowledge areas, and these are the quantitative. So here's where the quantitative is going to come in. Now, over here in Wysocki, these chapters 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, that's back in the 1 through 5 is laying the foundation. 6 through 10 is talking about the same traditional, basic, fundamental waterfall model. That's what he's talking about. And I could have used them. I could have used Wysocki. But I use these definitions and their approaches. That way you get used to PMBOK. If you get used to PMBOK, then you have more than enough material to take the certification exams. This over here is more directed toward application. This is applied more towards certification. Okay, once we have that, then I shift to Wysocki. And now the Wysocki here, I do the agile project management, the extreme project management. And notice the PMI does have certifications in agile. But I'll be looking at the Wysocki approach to the complex project management areas. And that's primarily agile and extreme. Well, traditional is three types. Traditional, agile, and extreme. The traditional are these up here. This is traditional. And then agile and extreme are modifications. But then once we have those, then I move into hybrid and pull it together with the ECPM framework. ECPM simply is the effective, complex project management. And essentially all this is a framework to pull these things together. And then finally, chapter 15 is a comparison. And this comparison is a great way to close out all the stuff we've learned. Because a comparison is not just a comparison. It's saying, when do you use TPM as traditional? That's this up here. CPM is complex project management. That's this here. When do you use traditional? When do you use complex? Okay, it's comparing them and saying, oh, here's the project, here's the environment, here's the scope, here's what we're using. Knowing what to use, there's the comparison. Not only what to use before you start, but how to shift when you start. Because you don't necessarily stay with one type of project management model. You don't stay with one type. You can shift during a project. And there's where people make mistakes. And that's why in some industries, 80 to 90% of projects fail. Because they know how to do the work, but they don't know how to organize a project. Two different things. Okay, let's go on. And that's what we'll look at in this course. Okay, policies and procedures. The policies and procedures in this syllabus will be followed in this course and apply to every student. In taking the course, each student is responsible to know and adhere to the policies. Okay, the course contains online material, reading material, working assignments, exam, and a project. That's pretty much what we have in this course. The course grade is solely based on student measured performance. I've mentioned that. No plus minus grades are given. No curves, no extra credit. And here's the rounding. I mentioned rounding. Here it is again. Follow the common rounding conventions for calculations in this course, especially related to grades, assignments, and exams. Never round during calculations, only round presentations. In other words, never use a rounded number when you compute anything. Use all the significant figures. You only round when you present something. If rounding to the unit digit, then 1.5 is rounded to 2, 1.4 is rounded to 1. And specifically in the equation, the number of x with a value between 1.5 and 2.5 is rounded to 2. Otherwise, it's rounded less than 1.5. It's rounded down to 1. Okay, the answers and points earned for each assignment will be posted on Canvas. But again, the course grade will not be posted on Canvas, but reported to the registrar. Nothing accepted after the end of the course. Collaboration. Now, collaboration is encouraged throughout this course to learn the material. I'll stop there. This is not only important in this course, but it's also important in business. It's extremely important project management. Collaboration, all I mean is create a network. Ask questions, learn from each other, help each other, help them with things you know. They'll help you with things that you don't know. So use each other. We need each other. And I learn from students all the time. I go, yeah, I didn't think of that. That's a good point. And I help improve these courses. But I also learn about project management because every once in a while, students are in projects that I haven't been in, and they can tell me things that I didn't know. We need each other. Collaboration is not important not only for this course, but also for industry, for business, and especially in projects. So create a network, and that's why we have a whole knowledge area on communication. Communicate, communicate, communicate from the beginning, middle, and always. Okay, but however, each student is required to submit original work. Collaboration does not mean submitting what other people do. You collaborate to learn, but when you submit something, that must be yours. Something you understand. They might help you understand it. You agree with them. Then it becomes yours. And then I'm gonna stand behind that. No collaboration is allowed on the exam. You do it by yourself. Only submit originally composed individual project report. When you write this report on your project, you write it. I'm very strict with that. Don't pull anything from anywhere unless you cite it, but you write your report. You don't pull what other people write. And it's not a group project, it's an individual project, but you can collaborate to learn, but you write your report, you take your exam. Okay, discussions are provided on Canvas between students to discuss course material. I highly encourage that. There should be a lot of discussion going on. Create times to get together. And use Canvas discussions between classmates for asking questions about the course material, asking questions about the course material, and other communications helpful for learning. So make use of those discussions to say, how'd you do this, how'd you do that? And you can ask anything you want. In the past, students have said, I don't understand this. Oh, I do. And then they'll tell you. And sometimes a student answering that is a much better answer than me answering it because I know it differently than a student. And sometimes I might answer it from this perspective up here, and you don't need that. You need this perspective down here. And sometimes you need that perspective. And so I will help as much as I can. But first, start with the discussions to collaborate with students between each other. Collaboration is responsibility of each student, and lack of collaboration does not eliminate a student's responsibility to submit assignments when due. If a tutor is used, and some people get tutors, I don't think you should, especially in this course. You have each other, and you guys will understand this material much better than an outside agent. But you might consult an outside agent. In communication, they talk about the RACI model, and you might inform. I is inform, or you might consult Okay, so they're not going to do it for you. You might want to consult someone on some issues. That's fine too. But if a tutor is used, which is a responsibility of the student, be careful to use the tutor appropriately. All I mean by that is you learn from them as you would learn from each other or learn from me. Don't let them do the work for you. That's usually not a problem, but it has been. And so don't let a tutor do your work for you. Learn from them. Communication. Communications include discussions between students through Canvas again, and questions from me during Zoom office hours. Now, for me, the Zoom office hours is the best time to ask me a question. Now, the link and times for Zoom office hours will be posted in Canvas. Initially, I'm planning on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 p.m., beginning on the 20th. And those Zoom sessions are the best, I feel, is the most efficient, most effective way for me to answer your questions, because it's a conversation. Because sometimes if you email it or do Canvas messaging, I'll read something and I could interpret that a lot of different ways, because again, I'm not looking at it from a student's perspective. I know this stuff from decades of using it. They go, oh, well, the way you ask that question, then here's the answer, and that might not be the answer you want. But conversation-wise, you'll say, no, what I mean is this. They go, oh, I see what you mean. What you meant to ask was this. And I go, yeah, that's what I meant. And so the conversation on Zoom is going to be much more helpful in communicating between me and you. Now, only use email or Canvas messaging for personal communications with me. Should email be necessary, and sometimes it is, for personal communication, use email address here and include the BANA 6650 in this area. I teach more than one course. You ask a question, and I might interpret that question from another course, as being from another course. So make sure identify who you are, what course you're in, this kind of thing, if you have to use email. Okay, if you feel it's important. But use communication wisely and responsibly. Okay. For the homework, I want to emphasize here, download the questions. Utilize the learning resources to learn the material and obtain answers for the questions. Finally, submit answers through Canvas. Carefully follow this procedure to submit homework answers through Canvas. Now, read this very, very carefully. What I'm saying here is, first, download the questions from Canvas, which will be in a Word file. You download the questions and then obtain your answers for all the multiple choice questions. Sometimes I'm going to have a lot of multiple choice questions, but sometimes you're going to upload a file. That happens too. But get all of your answers for all the multiple choice questions, get the files done, have everything ready to go. Only, I want to emphasize, only when all the answers are ready to submit, submit all the answers only once through Canvas. Each student is responsible to submit answers through Canvas correctly, completely, and on time. No late assignments accepted. Answers may be submitted only once. Assignments submitted will be accepted as entire assignments and graded and graded as an entire assignment. You can't do the multiple choice, then come back and do the uploads later. Get them all ready and do it at one time. Once you begin submission, in other words, at the bottom, you're going to download the homework, get all the answers, go back, and then down at the bottom it has submission. Boom. Once you click submit, you have only 60 minutes to submit all the answers to an assignment. But all the answers must be submitted on or before the due date and time for the assignment. The due date and time are strictly enforced by Canvas. Canvas will not allow submission after the due date and time, even during the 60-minute time window. The entire assignment must be submitted on or before the due date and time indicated. In other words, once you start submitting, that's the only time you can submit everything. If you submit part of it and you don't submit the rest of it, that's a 0 because you didn't submit it. You can go back and submit it. Okay. But what this says is, You have to submit it by Sunday night, 11:59 p.m. If you start at 11:58, yeah, you have 60 minutes, but 11:59, boom, it's going to shut you down. Wait a minute, I have 59 more minutes. No, the due date and time takes precedent over the 60 minutes. So be very careful of that. You have plenty of time to submit them. Make sure you're organized and submit them on time. No late assignments accepted. Assignments not submitted have a grade of 0. The answers to the assignments will be posted online after the due date. No partial credit. Okay? So be very, very careful with that. Sorry, had a frog in my throat, had to cough. Okay, that's why I like Zoom. That's why I like this. This is OBS, online broadcasting system. Okay, exam. Now the exam will be given during this course. Exam will be online through Canvas, multiple choice, timed, and notice it's going to be timed, open book, open notes. I'll emphasize that, and designed for evaluation. I'll be very, very careful. What I mean by design for evaluation, I want to be careful to only ask you questions you know. I don't want to ask you things you don't know. In other words, I'm not trying to discriminate between A, B, C, D, F. I want everyone to get an A. That's why I have the videos to say, here's how to prepare for this exam. I see exams as almost validation that you do know this material. It's almost a motivation to say, yeah, I know it. You know more than you think you do because you've been learning for 16, 15 weeks. You know the stuff. So show that you know it. And so I designed these exams to show that what you know. And that's what I mean for evaluation. I'm going to evaluate that you do know it. I don't want to evaluate what you don't know. And anyway, that's my philosophy. I have other philosophies too about exams, but you'll see when I go over the exam review guide. I'll show you exactly how to study for that, the types of questions I'll ask. In some cases, I'll give you the exact question, but I'll change the numbers around. Okay, each student must take their own exam. No collaboration is allowed. That's very strict. Collaboration is cheating. Collaboration on exams is cheating and represents academic dishonesty. If academic dishonesty occurs on an exam, the student will receive a 0 for the exam. An incident of academic dishonesty may be reported to the Internal Affairs Committee of the Business School at UCD for further action. I've been here long enough that academic dishonesty has happened and they've been reported and further action has taken place of getting a 0, getting an F for the course, being suspended or expelled. Academic dishonesty, this is not why we're here. We are here to learn. I'm here to teach because I want you to learn. You should be here to learn. So together we can learn. Academic dishonesty undermines that, where learning really doesn't happen. I want you to come out of here learning as much as you can, and that's why I'm really strict on this, and I will report violations. Okay. For the exam, each student is responsible to use only notes and material from this course. What I mean by that is don't pull something, don't go on a website and don't go in a chat room and say, how do you answer this question? That kind of thing. Each student is responsible to use only a calculator, no other equipment, and that's all you're going to need, if you even need that, if you can do the math in your head. Very simple mathematics, especially devices such as phones or communication or laptops for communication. No exam will result in a 0 for the exam. That's why make sure you take the exam. No exam will be considered after the end of the course. Okay, now the projects. I'll cover projects in much more detail at the end of the course as we get closer to it. But for now, each student is required to conduct independent research on a topic based on a material related to the course. The individual project report will be submitted as a PDF, and guidelines for a project are, there's 3 guidelines. 1, a topic related to this course. Don't write a report on finance over here, or something else over here, or marketing, or it has to be on related to this course, project management. 2, a topic beyond this course that was not specifically covered in the course, such as going deeper than the level of rigor in the course or going broader than the techniques in the course. In other words, what I don't want here is take one of my lectures and just redo it. Take one of my notes and say, okay, let me just say what I said. Don't want that. I want you to think about going deeper, broader, beyond. So going beyond what this course has. I'm just giving a foundation. You shouldn't be just satisfied with just redoing a foundation. You should take that foundation, build on it, and doing something for yourself, something more. Whatever it is, it's your choice. 3, an appropriate case study of material in the course. Now, I put the third one in because in the past, students in this class have been on projects. They've been on projects, they are on projects, and they say, or they're going to be on a project. They say, I would like to use this as a case study. And I say, that's a great idea, but apply this course to that project. Okay? You're not conducting it, but it turns out that when people have done this, they do have a project that they can use as a case study. It gives a really good opening to ask the project manager or people on the project, hey, I'm doing this project for school. I'm using this as a case study. Can I ask you about your project? And usually they're very open. Otherwise, you wouldn't get that information. So it's a really good way to get that if you have a project that you can do that with. Also a topic, in addition to this, a topic may be selected from a list provided on the website. I've already mentioned that. I showed that. However, each student must have a different project. That doesn't mean you can have a project the same kind, but each one has to be different. For example, let me show you one example of this. A really good example, if I can find it here. Let's come back here. Let's go back to at the bottom here. Here's where I have the projects here. Now, one of these, let's see here. It's complex projects. See, and you can look at some of these. Here it is, complex projects. Look at some of these projects that I have. Sustainability. Here's a seed methodology. You can have lead type lead certification of buildings and whatever. This right here, complex projects. Now, this is a book about tools for complex projects. I've had 2 or 3 people do this. But in this, they talk about different types of complexity. They say, if you have this kind of a complex project, here's how you would approach it. If you have this type of a complex project, so each one is different, but they're all about complex projects. And the complexity does not mean agile. This is not Wysocki's definition of complex. This is complex for different reasons. In the book, they define what complex means. Okay. This is back to the syllabus. The originally composed individual report shall demonstrate the student's knowledge of the research and ability to effectively communicate the knowledge appropriate to a business professional. So this is not, and let me emphasize this. Communicate to a business professional. Don't consider this a school report. Consider this a business report. You're giving this report to a business professional. It has to be sharp, clean, concise, correct, but do it in such a way that you're informing a business professional about what you've learned. Okay. Each individual report must be unique. All that means is you write your own report and don't do what someone else did or don't use what they did. Each individual project must be professionally composed with an introduction, main body, conclusion, references. Okay, this is a full-blown report. Although no literary structure is required, like font or whatever, or double space, it doesn't matter to me. A suggested length of the report is more than 2 pages, including graphs and tables. I don't want 1 sentence, 1 paragraph as a report. At least 2 pages, enough to cover what you're learning adequately. However, the length of the report should follow these guidelines of succinct but adequate. I love that phrase, succinct but adequate. Learn to do that in business, in universities, because you'll need to do that in business. Be very succinct but adequate. You don't want to go on and on and on. Maybe in politics, they go on and on and on. Don't do that in business, because they'll say, boom, you're out of here. It says, I don't have time for this. We've got to be productive here. So politics, they're trying to prove a point. In business, they're trying to be productive. Two different things. I don't know why I'm talking about politics. Maybe because a lot's happening. Okay, succinct but adequate. The length must be enough to adequately present your work, but length can be considered a negative if too long and content is not significant. So the succinctness means significant content. The adequacy means you've presented what you've learned. Okay, submit the completed report as a PDF file on or before the due date and time. Again, each report may be submitted only once. Complete report, on and on and on. And submit a report as a PDF. Do not use a cover page, but use the title below. And just use this title, and then boom, just start with your report as a heading, and then go on. And as I say, we'll go over this in much more detail later. Finally, general policies. The end of the course, nothing will be considered after the end of the course. Submission and grades. Submit homework assignments and project reports through Canvas. In other words, on or before the due date and time. Now, everything is, the Canvas is the learning management system, LMS. You download everything through Canvas. You upload everything through Canvas. I have the website as supplemental material. The links will go there to reside, and actually the website then links to YouTube, because the YouTube's platform, as I mentioned, is much more sophisticated and is probably the best in the world. And so that's a very reliable and high quality connection for your videos. But the website, you can download your lectures. I'll even have links for Word files for the homework and lectures on Canvas. Okay, but that's where you download things and you upload things. A homework assignment, individual project report not received when due, either through Canvas or by email with an on-time date and timestamp has a grade of 0. If you don't submit it, it's a 0. Now notice, through Canvas or by email with an on-time date and timestamp. Now notice, this is the first time I've mentioned submitting things through email. What I mean by this is submit everything through Canvas. That's the most efficient, reliable way of submitting your work. Submit it through Canvas. But Canvas is not a YouTube. It can go down. You can have problems with it. Sometimes you can't submit it. And if you don't submit it, you're going to get a 0. So make sure I get it. Well, if you email it to me, you say, I'm sorry, I tried Canvas, it doesn't work. And sometimes every semester something happens. Maybe not to Canvas, but to someone. If you email it to me, I get it by the date and time when it's due. I'll certainly accept it. I won't reject it, only because the mode of transport, the mode of communication has changed. You had to do that to get it to me on time. The on date, on time is much more important than how I get it. If I get it and it's timestamped through email, then I will receive it. Now, if I can't justify if it's on time, I don't know. So don't mail it to snail mail or anything like that. Then no, I don't know. I don't know when that was. But also, if it's on time, then I see it. Then I'll see it. And so when I grade these things, I'll go back and look and see if anyone has emailed me anything. If they have, I'll pull it down and then I'll change the grade. But after the date and time, then I don't consider anything. Okay. Because no late assignments accepted. That's strict, so be careful. Grades on homework assignments, project reports, exam will be posted online during the course. And again, I cover this again for grades. Academic dishonesty, I cover this again for academic dishonesty. Now, we've been asked to put this conduct in here, mainly because of things that have been happening in the world and in the United States. This is the code of conduct. This PDF is a code of conduct for all students, faculty, staff, visitors, anybody on campus. This is a code of conduct for the campus. The university policies, procedures in this link to human resources. Here's where we have all types of non-discriminatory and inclusion, diversity. All this will be covered and respected and honored at UCD in all courses. So we've been asked to put this link in there, so I did, on all these types of statements that are there. And finally, FERPA, or next FERPA. FERPA is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, and this is handling student information. And handling the student information will be according to FERPA by the laws, and the university will follow these federal laws. And so we will be very, very careful to protect information. And that's why the YouTube is just for me distributing the information. Okay? But when you ask questions on Zoom, that's not recorded. When you submit something through Canvas, that's secure. And all that information and the grades will not be communicated. But YouTube, for lectures, that's me putting things out there, and that's pretty much general for anyone. Okay, so FERPA is sensitive. The sensitive information, the personal information, is protected in, as far as I'm concerned, in very high regard. Okay, and it will not be released unless to you. Finally, any current or potential indications of violations of verbal or physical disruption or intimidation. If something's happening, whether current or maybe potential or anything that looks like something might go wrong here, then they have something called the CARE team, and this is the link to the CARE team, to report it. It's an assessment of a situation. It's assessment of something that's happening. It's assessment of something that might happen. So this is the CARE team. Any incident of violent or disruptive behavior can be reported to the Internal Affairs Committee of the Business School at UCD. Conduct also includes etiquette that is respectful to all people, facilities, and institutions on campus and online. So be very, very careful how you conduct yourself online, because that is also part of the disruptive behavior in the CARE team of the at UCD. Respectful behavior to people, each other, to facilities, university, and also the institution, as far as the policies and procedures that establish this institution. So be very careful of that. We've been asked to say that, and I kind of agree. And the reason I agree is because we are here to learn. I'm here to teach, and I hope you're here to learn. The best way to do that is in a protected, controlled environment where we focus on learning. And these other issues should be outside that bubble. They're important, they're valuable, but in this bubble, let's focus on learning. That's why we're here, so let's do it. Our commitment expectations, faculty policies state that courses in the business school should require of their students a workload that enhances education and is consistent with the amount of academic credit for a course. This is a graduate course. It's a 3-credit graduate analytics course, so therefore there will be work that is required outside the lectures that's required to be submitted. And the time commitment, it could range anywhere from 2 to 3 hours a week to maybe 6 or 8 hours a week, depending on the student. Each person is different. I will try to give you as much help as I can, as much support as I can to learn. And some people can do that quicker, and some people do it slower. And it really has absolutely zero effect to intelligence. It's just personality. I know I'm very slow at learning. When I learn, I get it, but I have to read it 4 or 5 times until I really understand it. Some people get it the first or second time. We're all different. We learn differently. Respect the differences, because we all together are much, much stronger. So there is work that to be done. Some can do it quickly. Some can do it. Some will take more time. But there is an expectation that we disclose. Finally, policies on adds, drops, and incomplete grades. Normally, I don't approve adds, drops, but I don't think it's a problem in this course. If there are people who do want to take this course, this is different than in class because there's no restriction as far as like fire code for a classroom. I'll certainly add you as long as it's within this first week. But one thing I'm strict on is no incomplete grades if given. I don't give incomplete grades. I never have since I've been here, and I will not. I do not give incomplete grades. It's just I don't do that. Finally, the last statement. Policies in the syllabus apply to every student. We started with that. Boom, up here at the very beginning. We started with this up here. Whoop. Up here somewhere. Oh well. I know I said it up here at the beginning. Oh well. What I mean by this, policies in this syllabus apply to every student equally. The reason I say this is because sometimes students, for one reason or the other, not necessarily malicious, they'll say, oh, I know that's your policy, but will you change that policy for this reason? They might have a special circumstance. Do it this way. Says, no, I won't. But if you bring a special circumstance to me, then within the rules, within the standards of this course, I'll do my best to help you in these special circumstances. But I will not lower the standards. I will not violate the policies, procedures, and rules. Well, I might violate the procedures, but I won't violate the rules, and I won't violate the structure of the course. That is embedded. And some things are very strict. I will not violate at all. But I'll help you as much as I can. For example, some people will say, I'll be gone next week. Can you release the homework a little early? I'll go, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll post it on Canvas so everyone can see it. Okay, and that's for everyone, but it's mainly for that person that needs it. Okay, so whatever. But I will never lower the standards, and I will not change the structure of the course or violate a policy or violate a rule. I just say that for two reasons. One, for students who think they deserve me to violate my policies, I won't do it. Two, for people who don't ask, you can be assured that I will not do it to the people who think that they can get it by asking or demanding. Okay? But I will not do that in this course. I apply it to everyone equally. Okay? But if you do have a special circumstance, bring it to me, and if I can help, I will. Otherwise, I will stick to the course for everyone. Okay, that is the syllabus, and that's really all I have for the syllabus today. And I hope this helps. I'll see you in the course next week.